But Greta, I am stunned. I am stunned to hear the president say, of course they're going to have time to read the bill. Take it home with them. They'll have all of August and part of September. Excuse me, Mr. President, you were the one who wanted this bill signed by the end of this month, this Friday. When would they have had time to do all this reading that you're talking about? I mean, the disingenuousness of this and the arrogance of it, to me, is just mind-boggling to sit there and now play it off like, of course you're going to have time to read the bill. Wait a minute, you were the one who wanted to rush this thing along. You wanted it signed by the August recess. So don't give me this, oh, we have time to do it stuff, when the reality is your agenda was to push this bill down the throat of the Congress, to push this bill down the throat of the American people, and but for the American people standing up and saying, no, read the bill, slow it down, take time, this would have been a very different scenario this week had the president had his way. Number two, the fact that they haven't read the bill. In fact, the president himself hasn't read the bill. Tells you everything you want to know about the seriousness with which they're taking this debate. And until the members take the time and sit down, study, articulate, and understand exactly what's in this thing, the American people should view them all suspiciously.
Well, actually, I thought it was sort of interesting. We're having a beer summit tomorrow night that I'm not going to ask you about. We'll talk about that later, but not with you maybe. But, you know, it's interesting because the beer summit's tomorrow night. But if you listen carefully what the president said, we can have a reading summit in September, because he said that he will invite them over to the White House and read it line by line by line. I'm game. I hope they go have a reading summit and that they all read it. I don't know if it's a good bill or a bad bill, but at least now we know. The summit starts. The reading summit will start.
The reading summit will start, and I hope there's no beer being served so that when they read it, they'll actually understand what it is they're reading. We need people to take this debate seriously. The American people right now are crying out for serious actors in this thing. The politics of it is too much to behold. And then today, to have the Blue Dogs come out and try to make us all feel so warm and fuzzy and good that they have eked out a compromise. A compromise on what? The only thing they've compromised is themselves. They're now lapdogs of Nancy Pelosi and the president. I'm sorry. That's exactly what it is, because you still got the tax consequences, you still have the spending consequences, and you still don't have clear answers to exactly what this means to someone who currently has health care with the high potential of losing that health care should this become law. So the fact is the lapdogs may be dancing, but the American people, again, should be very concerned about the direction this administration, whether they read the bill or not, wants to take this country.
All right. Well, there's been some negotiations, some agreements that's moderated the bill, or at least moved the bill to the satisfaction of the conservative Democrats. Do you anticipate that any of those modifications that the conservative Democrats have now agreed to will peel off some Republicans that were not otherwise likely to vote for the health care reform?
Well, that's a fair question, and it remains to be seen exactly what the compromise is. I mean, you know, you can compromise on a lot of things, but still not deal with the meat of the problem. And so that's what I'm waiting to see. I want to hear what the compromise is. I want to know exactly what the tax consequences are, what the spending consequences are, whether or not the government is going to insert itself as it plans to do between me and my doctor, between my doctor and insurance companies. I want to know exactly what that relationship is going to look like, and whether or not, once this is all done, employers will or will not offload their employees to a public plan because it's cheaper for them, because the government has come in and competed with them in the market and undercut their ability to provide that service. There are a lot of questions here that have not been answered, and I think it's about time we stop with all the, oh, gee, come over and let's have a beer conversation. Oh, gee, we're going to have a reading session, and deliberately lay out the direction you're going to go with this and tell us exactly what it means. We just don't have time for the games anymore, and it's just amazing to me that these lapdogs who were sitting around a few weeks ago barking about how bad the bill was have suddenly found religion at the heels of Nancy Pelosi to come out and say, yeah, we've worked out a compromise. Well, what is it? Tell us what it is.
And I got to go, Chairman Steele. Always nice to see you. Thank you, sir.